Hey y'all, thanks for joining us for another episode of Magnolia Peach Tea Podcast, where we share real life stories to help you navigate life's ups and downs.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for updates.
Now let's get to the tea. Hey y'all, it's Mom and Dad's anniversary.
52 years?
I've been married now for 26. We're about to be 27 in July. And boy, you remember that?
I do.
Goodness.
I remember your wedding day like it was yesterday. I was ready to fight.
Goodness. So we got married in 1997. And that seems so long. 1997, 90s. Just in general seems like it was so long ago. But man, when I tell you that day, I remember the day like the back of my hand. And when I say it went so quick, it was crazy. I also remember the near altercation the day of.
One thing about me is you don't mess with my sister. You do not mess with my sister. She planned so long and hard for this day, and anybody who got in the way was going to feel my wrath.
It wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. So what happened was, typically after the wedding, before the reception, the wedding party gets together and they take pictures, and you just kind of congregate on them amongst themselves and stuff. And so for some reason, a couple of the groomsmen
and the best man
decided to, I guess, go off. I don't know. I have no clue.
They went home.
I don't know why. I don't understand why.
I was like, what wedding do you know where the people in the wedding just up and leave?
I don't know. That was odd. So
I came out my shoes for that one. I was ready.
Yeah, I was a little oblivious to it. Thankfully, while my sister so graciously handled it. But they made it back in time, got dressed again, and made it back in time to go ahead and take pictures.
Finish their responsibilities.
Yeah, you're right. I'm like, damn, what the hell?
In a wedding and you just up and leave just because they said I do, and then you just bounce?
Well, they were young. So,
no.
Yeah, they were young. So that I think that was the one of the biggest highlights of the wedding is the groomsmen deciding to kind of go off and stray away from the whole wedding party. But I remember the food was good because we cooked the food.
Right. Mom and Dad cooked the food.
We still talk about the cake.
Yes. That cake was good. Even a year later, that cake was good.
That cake was awesome. And if anybody knows me, y'all know I love lemon. So my cake was lemon. And then I also had a couple of layers that were, I think it was like this pecan praline or something like that. And so we always talk about that cake. Yeah. Absolutely delicious. DJ was off the hook. DJ Rock.
Yeah, that was fun. We had a time. It was fun.
It sure did.
And then, planning your wedding and seeing you go through that, I was like all excited about the one day that I would get married. And that day came.
Yeah.
And I was like, this ain't me.
No, sister.
The planning part, I mean, I don't know if it was because my fiance was in the military in a way, but like the whole planning of it was too overwhelming. My anxiety was too high to the point where I was like, I don't really care at this point. I don't care.
But you had some other family members to kind of take the lead on your planning, of your wedding.
I did. Our cousin took the lead because she knew I was over it, and I was like, yeah. Like, I couldn't decide on a dress. I couldn't decide on a color. I couldn't decide. So let me give some background regarding the type of family we have a very close knit family. So, like when something is going on, everybody is all hands on. Yeah. And for, most of our family, that's all welcomed. And, everybody's like, oh yeah, sure. Then there's me. No, I don't. No. If I don't see you often, even though we're family, I'm going to say hello, but I'm not going to be like, oh, let me put some money down so you can come to my wedding and eat my food and drink my liquor and blah, 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 and talk about me. No. Yeah. So I was over it.
Jean and I's wedding were vastly different. I had the traditional church wedding, reception after, whole wedding dress, tuxedo, limo, that type of thing. And she had more of a at-home.
Backyard.
Yeah.
Shotgun. The only thing that was missing was the baby.
It was not.
It was, at home, very few family, maybe if we had 20 people there, we had a lot of people.
I think we had more than 20.
Yeah, I walked, the wedding was in the house. I walked down the hall.
You wore white. You had flowers.
I did. I wore a white pantsuit. I wore that pantsuit.
You're a mess.
I did. And it wasn't, it was okay. Hindsight was it should have never happened, but it happened, and it. Yeah.
So how did you get engaged?
I got engaged. He was down for from basic training. He had got his orders. He was going to Germany, and we were already talking about it, and it just kind of happened, so let's do it. So funny story, I was married before I got married. So my fiance was in the military. He got out of basic, got his orders to go overseas. We had already been talking about it, so we just kind of let's just do it. So we eloped. We went to the courthouse. We picked these two random people who just so happened to be in the courthouse.
Which courthouse?
This was New Iberia.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So these two random people who looked shocked and surprised that we were asking them to witness for us, and we went ahead and got married. I want to say I had on sweatpants probably. So after we got married, we went to the little hood spot and got these hot dogs. This place was everybody went and got these hot dogs.
Not on Hopkins.
Yes. It was hot dogs. So we got these hot dogs, and we went to the park, and we had a little picnic in the park. That was our reception.
Jean.
I want to say we probably had little Debbie cakes for us.
That is a damn shame.
But that was it. And then so getting married and going through the steps, going through the whole thing again was that probably is what steered my anxiety or my kind of being over it. It was because, I was already married. So going through the whole process of the wedding, the dress, the colors, who we're invited, because we were arguing about that, about who should be invited. He wanted the entire Southwest Louisiana to come. And I'm like, no.
That sounds about right.
No, I don't like those people. No, I think that's what sparked my whole anxiety about the whole planning, and I was over it, over it. But so our cousin kind of took over, and she planned everything: cake, decorations, flowers, all of that. They even paid for the honeymoon, which was the casino. We spent the night at the casino.
Really? Which casino?
The one in
Is it Lake Charles?
Is that Lake Charles? The one, not La Place. Is that what it is? I forgot. Look, I forgot the name of the place.
Was not memorable.
Was not memorable at all. Hindsight is, I probably should not have done it, because I was always somebody who was I'm never getting married. I'm never getting married. And then I got married. And then I stayed married for 18 years. And then I was yeah.
But you were dating.
Out.
You were dating a lot, though. I mean, you had a boyfriend in high school. You had... I don't know if you were dating anybody at USL.
I wasn't. I had male friends at USL, but I wasn't like really dating anybody.
And then you had, I thought about this person the other day because I saw somebody who looked like him in the Kroger parking lot.
Girl. Oh my God. But we wasn't even dating. That? We was just like cool friends.
Nah, Jean, that was bad. That was bad.
Just like cool friends. We weren't even like dating. Like he dated somebody that I was quote unquote friends with for a very long time, and then they broke up, and then me and him got, we were still cool and we would hang out, but we weren't never like a couple,
Oh.
But
I don't know. Y'all was frequenting each other pretty often.
We were. We had some benefits. That's all I'm gonna say. Did y'all go on a honeymoon?
Yeah, we did. We went to New Orleans. My godparents covered our honeymoon to New Orleans. Stayed at, I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it seemed like it was creepy as shit. But, hey.
Typical New Orleans.
It was hot. I do remember that. It was hot.
It was July.
I do not know what.
That was July.
It was hot. Yeah. It was probably just as hot as the last time we went to New Orleans. Remember that?
Yeah.
When you almost
died on the curb in front of Cafe Du Monde.
Yeah.
Stealing the water.
I thought it was free. It was too hot.
Yeah.
But so honeymoon was nice. Wasn't a beach vacation, island, vacation, but we appreciated it. It was nice.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Again, hindsight is 2020. Your experience was different. You're still married. My experience was different. I'm no longer married. Happily no longer married.
Well, and to each his own. Like I say, marriage is not for everyone. It takes a lot of work, and you got to put up with other people's issues.
You know what? A funny story. So the one thing that really I just could not get accustomed to in marriage, let me say in the beginning, because when we got married the second time, when everybody knew we was married, we like immediately left to move to Kentucky. And so that was like my first time outside of my parents' house. And I remember looking at him as like, he's never going home. Like he's staying here with me forever.
It's yours, honey.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this out.
Yeah.
And I tried it out for 18 years. It's just, it took me a while to say, nah, it ain't me.
So I know you had some good sides or some upsides to marriage.
I'm sure I did.
But?
I don't.
You don't recall?
Not at the top of my head right now.
Oh.
No. Again, hindsight is 2020. The person that I married, you know how they say, when somebody shows you who they are, believe it. Well, they showed me who they were, and I didn't believe it because of the words that were coming out of his mouth. The words didn't match the actions, and I kept disregarding the action
Actions
and
are
listening
important.
to the words.
Actions are important.
Yeah.
Very important. Yeah, it's like that little placard I have in my room. Like, if he kisses your head, if he holds your hand, if he does something or makes an effort or whatever, be grateful or whatever, accept it because it's genuine. And so I think it in a nutshell, it's all about the actions that person puts out.
And also, we come from, mom and dad been married for 52 years. Mom basically said dad was the only boyfriend she ever had. Go ahead, girl. But like my view of marriage was a whole lot different than his because, his family was not set up like our family is. So the dynamic was different. So our coming into it, we had two different expectations of what marriage or what a marriage is supposed to look like. And both of us thought that our viewpoint was the right one. And so that we clashed on that a lot outside of infidelities, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yep, you're right.
But again, when somebody shows you who they are, believe it, regardless of the words that they come out the mouth, and regardless of that piece of paper that you signed that said that he was gonna love, honor, and cherish you forever, because his forever wasn't forever. Anywho, but so I can't recall any good right now.
Well, the good is that you realize that you could probably do just as good by yourself. I think that was the good.
Yes. Yes. I'm definitely good. I hit a lot more milestones alone than I did married. But, you know, it's a learning. It's a learning experience. So I definitely can say I came out of that learning a lot of lessons that I take on to the next, which is another podcast in itself, dating in your 40s.
Absolutely.
That's totally different.
Absolutely. I think just in general in a marriage, and that's just me speaking from a personal experience, if you don't see that growth, then it's like, what are we doing here?
Right. And you see, with me, I didn't see the growth, but I kept saying, okay, it's coming around the corner.
Because
he's coming. It's coming around the corner. Because he said he's coming. He said we on the same page. He's going to do X, Y, and Z. And 3 months later,
that shit didn't mean nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes, you know, my light bulb takes a little longer to flash.
Flicker.
Took 18 years for it to pop on and be like, ma'am, you need to make some changes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, sister, I think that, you know, if you do find someone,
girl, I ain't get married again.
Well, you never know what God has in store for you.
You know what? But I think God knows my heart, and I think God knows his child. He knows that I don't think I'm built for it. And you know, and I go back to saying, because younger me, I never wanted to get married. And I don't know if it was because my little sister got married and I'm like, oh, I'm the big sister and I'm supposed to be married too. Or I don't know what it was, but I was just like, okay, let's do it. And I can honestly say that there was like maybe like a little 10% piece of me that was like, girl, you do not belong here. You do not belong here. Yeah. He does not understand your OCD tendencies. He's still here. Like,
you wanted him to leave.
I did.
No.
Yes.
That he's supposed to be there with you.
But I wanted somebody who was going to be there for me.
Sister, it's until death do you part.
He almost died.
Oh, goodness gracious.
He almost did. Now, that's another podcast. Another conversation. The strength that you see is after years of breaking down and blaming myself for a lot of things. And then it took a realization, and it took a lot of, I guess, revelation that, you know, it's not me. It's not you. No, ma'am. It's not you. It's him. He's the problem.
Yeah.
And like I told you, like we did the counseling, you know, like the psychiatrists or whatever.
Yeah.
We did that kind of counseling. We did the church pastor counseling, which was a whole different nonsense in itself. But it just wasn't working. So I'm happily divorced. Would I ever get married again? You know what? I say no, but you never know.
Exactly.
There might be somebody who will accept me for who I am today.
Yeah, and treat you like the queen that you are.
And know when to go. Because that sometimes is the thing. I am a true introvert. I feel it. I know it. I like being by myself sometimes. And you know, when you're married, that person's always there.
Well, that's why you have separate rooms.
You know, me and you, we've never seen mom and dad not in the same room. Like, to this day, they're together, like everywhere. They hold hands. They, you know, support each other. And so that's what we saw. And that's what I expected out of my marriage. And that's not what I got. And it took me a very long time, unfortunately, to realize that I deserve that or even more. And then I was like, well, if you can't give it to me, I'm out.
Yeah. And I think it's more of if you don't want to give it to me.
Exactly. Because he didn't want to.
Yeah.
Not to me.
Yeah.
No, he was free with giving, but not to
you. I know that. But I'm glad that that he's still alive. You're not in jail. At least no longer.
Right.
That, you know, like I said, you never know what God has in store for you. You may say no. And I just know this from a personal level. Every time I say no, God be like, oh, yeah, let me show you.
Right.
So.
Right. That's true. That's true.
You never know.
Thanks for joining us on today, guys.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed Till Death Do Us Part.
Be sure to tune in for the next episode of Magnolia Peach Tea Podcast.